Defense to Education Tricks 99. This side is Sachin. So, our today's topic is life cycle management in drug regulatory affairs. This is very important topic. So, this is a part 1. So, I will also make another videos on the same topics. So, let's begin. Like whenever we talk about the drug development, so most people think the final thing is getting an approval of the drug product. But in reality, approval is not the end. It is the beginning of the long journey which we called as life cycle management. So, life cycle management means managing everything that happens to the drug after its approval. All right. So, during commercial manufacturing, like multiple changes naturally occur. So, what are these changes? Like new supplier addition, equipment upgrades, stability data updates, packing changes, labeling regulations. So these are the type of changes which generally occurs after the approval of a drug product. So every change must be communicated to the regulatory authority. So in our part 1 of this video, we will understand the foundation of life cycle management and why it is important, what kind of changes occurs and how the regulatory team handles these type of changes, right? What is life cycle management? So, life cycle management is the structured process of managing all changes in a drug product after it gets to the approval. Once the product enters into a market, manufacturing continues for the years and sometimes decades. So, during this time, raw materials supplier may change, equipments get old, guidelines are updated, markets expand, and companies needs to make the improvement. So every time there is a modification, it must be documented, supported by scientific justification, and submitted to the regulatory authorities. So life cycle management ensures that the product remains compliant, safe, effective, and a consistent quality throughout a commercial life. Right? Then, coming to why is the life cycle management needed? Why do we need to manage the life cycle of a drug product? So life cycle management is needed because the pharmaceutical manufacturing is not static, right? Regulatory requirements keep changing. For example, new impurity guidelines, nitrosamine impurities, or data integrity rules, right? So companies must upgrade their processes to match these standards. Now, additionally, equipment becomes outdated and suppliers shut down, new materials becomes available, demand increases, and the companies upgrade its technology related to the equipment, software, right? So everything needs to be submitted to the health authority. So all these changes ensures continuity of the supply, improve the robustness and reduce risk in the manufacturing. So without life cycle management of the product, it may go out of compliance and leading to warnings, import alerts or even recalling of the drug product. Now, coming to common post approval changes, like what are the common post approval changes? So let's understand what type of post approval changes commonly occurs. The most frequent ones are related to the manufacturing, like changing of the manufacturing site, scaling up the batch size or upgrading the equipment. And next we can say the quality or the CMC, which is chemistry manufacturing control changes, such as updating the analytical methods like the particle size, or there are so many other changes in the analytical methods like in the water, in the impurities, right? And tightening the specification or revising impurity limits. Packaging changes also occurs often, like for example new bottle supplier, or updating the carton color, or stronger blister material, right? Labeling changes happen when new safety informations is added, and stability changes occurs when shelf life of a drug product is extended or new data is added, right? Coming to the another topic, let's begin a case study. Like if a drug A is having a 500 mg, right? So to understand the life cycle management practically, let's take a simple example. Like drug A is having 500 mg of tablets. So suppose a company received the approval, and after 2 years the API supplier discontinues its raw material, right? And now the company must identify a new API supplier. So before switching, they must perform comparative characterization, impurity profiling, and stability assessment. Next, the packaging departments wants to change the aluminum foil to a stronger barrier foil, right? Because the older foil was causing blister damage. So this is also a change. So this is also become a regulatory submission. So this is the second example. So after 5 years, new stability data allows the company to extend life from 24 months to 36 months. So again, this is a post approval change. So these are the examples which I am talking about, right? And suppose, so this is how life cycle managements continuously we need to maintain over the product's commercial life. Then role of regulatory affairs. So the role of regulatory affairs team plays a major role in the life cycle management. So whenever any department propose a change, whether it is manufacturing, it is related to quality control, it is related to quality assurance, packaging, stability. So regulatory affair, which we simply called as RA, determines it's the regulatory impact, whether we need to file any kind of variation or it's just simple as a no regulatory impact. So RA perform regulatory impact assessment, how they impact the assess how they assess the impact. So is the changes minor, major, right? Or is it moderate? And what documents are the required, what stability data must be generated, what timelines do authorities follows, right? So RA ensures the change is supported by the scientific justification and submitted in the correct format and timeline to each global markets, because there are so many markets for a particular drug where it is approved. So we need to file a variation in each market wherever it is applicable. Now coming to risk assessment. So before finalizing a change, companies must perform a detailed risk assessment. So they evaluate whether the change will affect its product's quality, safety, or effectiveness. For example, if you change an excipient grade, so will dissolution change? So this is a risk assessment. If you change a bottle type, whether the moisture increases. If you change the API vendor, will impurities change? This risk based approach ensures patient safety and helps authorities decide the level of regulatory reporting, right? Now coming to the global regulatory pathways. So one important thing about the life cycle management is that every regions follows different regulations, right? So in the US, changes are submitted as a supplements or annual reports, like right supplements as CB0, CB30. But in the Europe, it is categorized as type 1A, 1AIN, type 1B, type 2. And in Canada, it is usually called as NDS, SNDS, notifiable changes. Many other countries follow WHO guidelines or their local regulations, right? So this makes life cycle management a highly technical and multi-regulatory activity. So a single change like a site transfer has to be reported differently in the 60 to 70 markets. Now coming to the regulatory terminologies. So these regulatory terminologies comes up frequently in the life cycle management. A variation means a change from the previously approved condition. A supplement in the US means a submission requiring review before approval. Notification are the minor changes that only need to be informed to the authority. Some changes can be reported once a year through annual reports. How changes are classified. So authority classify the changes based on the level of the risk and the amount of the data required, right? A change that affects the formulation or manufacturing process is considered as a very high impact. However, a change like updating an address of the company is considered as a very low impact. If a changes affects dissolution, its impurities or bioavailability, it becomes critical and require more data, right? This classification determines whether the change requires prior approval, notification or annual reporting. Hope you understand the topic. Now, manufacturing related changes. So, manufacturing is the area where most changes occur. I hope we agreed on the same. Site transfer is one of the biggest life cycle management activities. This requires validation of batches, comparability protocols, stability data, and good manufacturing practice documentation. Process optimization is also a common activity. Companies adjust the parameters to improve its efficiency or to reduce the cost. And batch size increases is frequent when product demand rises. Then coming to the next topic, CMC quality related changes. So CMC change involves the technical quality part of the product. For example, if new impurity data becomes available, so company may tighten its impurity limits or they might develop a more robust analytical method. Sometimes new stability data shows the product degrades differentially, right? So which is leading to revise the specification. So we need to revise the specification accordingly. Then coming to the labeling and packaging changes. So labeling changes are one of the most sensitive parts of the life cycle management. Even a small change like shifting a logo position or rewriting a warning require a regulatory approval. So we need to file each and every change to the regulatory authority accordingly, according to the classification. So packaging material changes like moving a higher GSM carton or a stronger aluminum foil require testing and justification. Storage conditions changes also comes through the stability data analysis. Right? Now, if changes are not managed, then what will happen? So, if the life cycle changes are not managed properly by the pharmaceutical company, the consequences are very serious. Companies may receive the 483S warning letters or the alerts. Incorrect packaging may cause moisture issues leading to the recall of the drug product. Not reporting changes can be considered as a data integrity violation, and ultimately the patients may be harmed due to inconsistency of the product quality. So we need to file each and everything to the regulatory authority if it is applicable. Now, coming to the last part of this video, summary. So in this video, we have covered the foundation of the life cycle management in the drug regulatory affairs. So this knowledge is extremely important for anyone who is working in the regulatory affairs, quality assurance, quality control, or manufacturing department. So in our next part, we will go deeper into the classification of the changes like minor, moderate, major as US FDA, and type 1A, type 1IN, type 1B, type 2 as per EMA, and WHO and ROW examples. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you like, if you like this video, then it will motivates me. So thank you so much again for watching this video.